Back in the late 90s, 3D console gaming was still in kind of a wild, uncharted frontier. Every new release promised to blow your mind, to show you something you'd never seen before. You'd bring home a game, pop it into your N64, and just hold on. For a lot of us, one of those games was Extreme G. But here's the thing I want to show you today. This game wasn't just another racing title. It was a specific and calculated response to the giants of its time. And to understand its unique place in history, we need to look at what it was competing against, and the fascinating ways it carved its own path. In 1997, if you wanted a futuristic racing fix, you had clear, dominant leaders. But Extreme G looked at those leaders and made a series of deliberate, rebellious choices. And to see how it set itself apart, we need to first understand the two pillars that it was positioned between. On one side, you had WipEout on the PlayStation. This was the epitome of cutting-edge cool, with a distinct, ultra-modern, futuristic design. The experience was about flow, precision, and style gliding on a cushion of air. On the other hand, you had the legendary F-Zero on the Super Nintendo. Its legacy was immense, offering pure, unadulterated speed with no weapons. Extreme G looked at these two pillars and decided to build something right down the middle. But its identity wasn't just defined by gameplay. The moment you saw the bikes, a very specific visual language clicked, pulling from a classic sci-fi film that perfectly matched its digital, dangerous vibe. The connection to the light cycles from Disney's 1982 film Tron is unmistakable. These weren't just vehicles. They were smooth, aggressive machines built from glowing vectors of light. I'll admit my personal bias. Seeing these bikes immediately tapped into my love for that film's minimalist, digital aesthetic. But it's crucial to note that Extreme G's cycles aren't just a copy. Where Tron's designs were sleek and fluid, Extreme G's bikes are heavier, more industrial, packed with mechanical-looking edges and weapon pods that gave them a brutal, functional edge. There's also a hint of another iconic design if you squint, the famous red bike from the anime Akira. That same sense of a raw, powerful, and almost unstable machine was a weaponized vehicle for aggressive pilots. And to fully immerse you in that world, the game employed a secret weapon, one that was absolutely fundamental to the experience and is still talked about today: its sound. Extreme G features an original trance and techno soundtrack by composer Simon Robertson. This isn't background music, it's the game's pulse. The relentless driving beats and synth lines physically pace you, turning the race into a high-speed audio-visual trance state. But a great soundtrack needs a great playground. So what were you actually doing in this loud, fast world? The core gameplay loop hid a surprising amount of depth and tactical chaos beneath its simple premise. Extreme G's core is deceptively simple: finish first. But the path to first place is littered with an entire arsenal of devious weapons. At the start of each race, you're given 3 precious nitro power-ups, a limited resource that provides a massive temporary boost of speed. Using them wisely to overtake, to recover from a hit, or for a final lap sprint was a key strategic layer. The other weapons are collected on the track in a wonderfully tactile way. A pickup glider swoops down and physically attaches a weapons pod to the back of your bike, a delivery method that feels directly inspired by the classic arcade game, Atari's Road Blasters. You have standards like homing missiles, but also wonderfully creative tools. The magnetic mine created gravity wells on the track edges to suck rivals into the walls. And then there's the Wally Warp, a truly devious 2-part weapon. You'd first drop an exit warp gate on the track. Then, further ahead, you'd drop the entry gate. Any opponent who drove into the entry would instantly be teleported backwards through your exit gate, losing massive amounts of time and position. It was a fantastic tool for sabotage. This weapon set encouraged constant engagement, and the game's overall structure and different play modes are robust, with the full championship mode and time trials. Additionally, the multiplayer suite was a huge part of the offering. You had standard split-screen racing for up to 4 players, though hitting the full player count did come with a noticeable cost. The otherwise solid frame rate could get choppy and slow down due to intense moments, especially when the weapons are firing off all around you. It was the price of admission for that much chaos on the screen. And they also included a dedicated battle arena mode, which was a brilliant twist. Here, you'd trade your bikes for slow, heavy tanks. Again, a direct nod to the tank battles seen in the film Tron, and duke it out in small enclosed arenas in a last man standing fight. It was a completely different tactical experience that added great variety. And while the developers were pushing for a sense of speed in the main game that was almost unbelievable for the time, to do that on the N64's hardware, they had to make a famous, or should I say, infamous technical compromise. You see, Extreme G was a game that wanted to be faster than anything else on the console, and to achieve this, the developers employed a common trick from back in that era, the thick, heavy distance fog. And at first glance, it's a glaring limitation. But if you played it, you understood this fog was also a magician's tool. It wasn't only hiding draw distance, it was actively contributing to the sense of insane speed and creating a claustrophobic, tense environment. This was essential because the track designs themselves were engineering marvels of the day. These weren't flat circuits, they were roller coasters. Tracks like Tax City or Eshkaton were littered with massive loops, corkscrew turns, and daring jumps that would send you flying over gaps in the track. The fog meant these elements would materialize out of the void at the last possible second, demanding split-second reactions and making every lap feel like a white-knuckle plunge into the unknown. That combination of wild track geometry and obscuring fog is what created that truly exhilarating, borderline, uncontrollable sense of speed. This technical choice leads us to the final question. Where does this ambitious, flawed, and intense game sit in the grand scheme of retro gaming history? Extreme G was a moderate commercial success and spawned multiple sequels. But its legacy is more nuanced than simple sales figures. It didn't dethrone the anticipation of F-Zero X, which was released exactly 1 year later on the N64. Nor did it have the high-tech style of WipEout. Instead, it carved out its own gritty, weaponized territory. For N64 owners in 1997, it was a vital and chaotic stopgap. It represents a specific moment in 3D gaming's adolescence. Ambitious, a little rough, but utterly fearless. And to me, it still resonates and provides an exhilarating experience to anyone brave enough to hold on. But that's just what I think. What's your take on Extreme G? How does it stack up to F-Zero and WipEout? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your views. Don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed the video. And if you're new here, welcome to the channel. I'd like to invite you to subscribe for more feel-good retro gaming content. Alright my friends, this is the Retro Gaming Boss signing out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.